El reboarding en la industria de la hospitalidad ha sido todo un tema a partir de esta serie de reflexiones que hemos venido haciendo a partir de los cambios que ha implicado el COVID-19 en México y el mundo. Por eso es muy importante hacer una revisión a detalle de cuáles son las nuevas y grandes tendencias que se observan en esta industria, donde indudablemente la oferta de servicios ha venido modificando su propuesta a los diferentes inversionistas, pero sobre todo a los viajeros que tienen nuevos parámetros. Es por eso que hoy revisamos la historia y la propuesta que se hace a partir de una nueva marca que, si bien no es nueva respecto a sus resorts, sí plantea los nuevos lineamientos que permitirán que que el turismo a nivel internacional cambie y que el viajero pueda encontrar, una vez que haya recuperado la seguridad y certeza sobre subir a un avión para trasladarse, quedarse y tomar esta nueva etapa y fase del descanso. Lindsay, what can you tell me about your real challenge for the company and in special for this new acquisition?
Obviously, the global pandemic that's affecting the world has had a tremendous impact on the hotel and hospitality industry. You know, from the travel restrictions that are in place to the fact that many hotels in certain markets are running very, very low occupancy. So that's just it's been a challenge across the board. I'm very happy to say that now the majority of our hotels are open though, which is great. People are slowly starting to travel again. A lot of domestic travels is taking place. And to your question about Beyond Green, I'm sure many people said that we chose an interesting time to launch this brand. However, this was something that we had planned on doing at the beginning of the year to launch in June. The pandemic has definitely delayed that just a little bit for us. But in many ways, I think it's actually going to be very productive for Beyond Green. I think what is happening in the way people are perceiving the future of travel and how they want to travel, that the hotels that are going to be part of this brand are going to fit very, very nicely with people's future aspirations.
Beyond the fashion of the word sustainability, what do you think about the new challenges, but in special, how will be the offer of the different resorts around the world?
It's interesting because I think hotels have always been the epitome of cleanliness and health. You know, it's taken on a new magnitude as a result of what's happening with the pandemic. So I think that there's things that, in the past, they used to kind of keep everything behind the scenes in terms of how they went about cleaning hotels and security protocols. And now it's very much front and center. You know, they want to show the guests what they're doing to keep them healthy, keep them safe, keep cleanliness in place. And I think that that's something that will probably remain for a while. But I think that the major shift that's going to happen is, one, there's just been a shift in terms of regional travel. So people are traveling within their own backyards more than they ever have in the past, and I think that that's a trend that probably will continue for a while. I also think hotels have become incredibly creative with I call it how they package the offerings that they have on property. And you've got ski resorts that they don't really know what's going to happen with the ski season, and so they're converting their golf course into an ice skating rink, or they've been converting their ballrooms into spaces where people can bring their kids and have them study online. So I think that there's just been a shift in terms of how they creatively service their guests. And then the other major shift is going to be in the area of sustainable tourism. I think hotels have decided to do what we've called double down in terms of investing in best practices. So that's not only what's happening on property, this recycle, reuse, and how do you become more energy efficient, but also what is happening in their own destinations and backyards. How are they servicing their community? Are they hiring locally? Are they sourcing food locally? Are they using best practices in terms of hiring? How are they promoting their destination? We believe that shift in that focus for hotels is going to become even more important as they come out of this pandemic period of time.
What did you add to your offer Beyond Green?
So Beyond Green is a separate brand from Preferred Hotels and Resorts. So similar to Preferred, we don't own manage or operate the hotels. But what we do provide is a global branding platform, global sales, marketing, distribution, a loyalty program, kind of all those turnkey services. What Beyond Green offers to its member hotels is it's providing that global infrastructure, but specifically with that lens on sustainable tourism. And as I alluded to before, that's really the three pillars that the United Nations and the World Travel and Tourism Organization have put into place. So it's sustainable practices on property, focus on community service and philanthropy, as well as making sure that you're celebrating the culture and heritage of the destination that you're located in. So the everything that we do for Beyond Green is going to have that sustainable tourism lens to it. So for example, corporations that have corporate accounts, we've seen for a long period of time more that want hotels that practice sustainability practices. So making sure we're going after those accounts. There's in the meetings and event space, a lot of meetings and events now say that they will only hold meetings at hotels that are practicing sustainable tourism related practices. So we're applying that lens to everything that we do for the member hotels that are part of the brand.
In the 24 Green Resorts feature, there are international destinations, but no one is in Mexico. Could you consider to involve or incorporate one new resort in the offering that now you are operating around the world?
Oh, we have a lot of hotels that we're looking at for to join the brand in Mexico and Latin America. As you know, Preferred Hotels and Resorts already has 70 hotels in Mexico. We've identified some existing members that we think are already living up to the ideals of the Beyond Green brand. And I know that there's many more. So I couldn't say on this recording specific hotels because we haven't done all the vetting. But I foresee by the time we do our full consumer launch in February that we'll have a beautiful handful of properties in Mexico and Latin America.
Now we are facing different situations for the guests. I mean, the outdoor activities. So have you changed something in terms of this new situation because of the COVID?
Well, again, because we don't own or operate the hotels, we're having to rely on our member hotels around the globe to follow their local government guidelines. Here in the United States, it's the CDC. In most rest of the world, it's usually the WHO, WHO, or other local government authorities. So our hotels have done an amazing job of making sure that they're following all the local guidelines and government rules and restrictions. I think they're also getting really creative. As I mentioned earlier, they're finding ways to repurpose their space. So for hotels that previously only had indoor restaurants, they've been able to convert to an outdoor dining. They're just taking space that maybe was used for something else so that they can have their guests be able to dine outside. We have many hotels that have brought their gyms outside, or they've decided to offer different types of fitness activities that can be performed outside. So I think that our hotels have been, incredibly resourceful and creative on how to adapt to, these new restrictions that continue to be put in place.
So what's been the behavior of your guests? People still traveling?
They are, in many cases, it's been interesting. Some of our resort hotels, this is true globally, have had the best year ever, because what happened was, as I said, people couldn't travel. Maybe, in the US, if they were used to going to, traveling internationally, they've decided to go explore in their own backyard. So anywhere that they could drive to, or short airplane rides, they were staying longer. So they were actually staying longer than they would have in the past, and enjoying a different set of amenities. So people are definitely still traveling. It's just that they've shifted where they're traveling and how long they're traveling. In addition, with this work from home environment and study from home environment, we're finding that a lot of people are taking their families with them. They're saying, I can work from a hotel room while my family can study and or enjoy the local, the amenities at the property. And they get a little bit of a break from having to cook and clean in their own homes. So it's just been an interesting shift, but a positive one for many of our resort properties around the globe.
it means that your guest has amplified the time of their vacations, instead of that, because of the technology, people or the travelers now can mix these different activities. I mean, school, traveling, or having rest, and even working.
Absolutely. It's what I'm sure you've heard the term leisure travel, business to leisure. And that's become even more prevalent right now. It's just this, I might as well go explore somewhere new, be able to have amenities I may not have at my own home, and have the services of a hotel. And they feel safe because hotels said they've always had very strong cleaning protocols, safety protocols. This is, the hotel industry has taken this very, very seriously to make sure that they care for those guests that are walking through their door.
At the end of the story, it is a matter of confidence, right?
Absolutely. I think, the traveler has, kind of a risk tolerance that they're willing to make. And I think that my experience has been, as people begin to travel, so I know my first airplane ride, I was a little nervous, and now I've been on many. So I have confidence in what the airline industry is doing and how airports are controlling the situation. And then the minute you get to a hotel property, especially all of the preferred hotels and resorts or beyond green properties, high level of confidence with how the staff in the hotel are managing, making sure, like I said, everybody's health, safety, and well-being is very much intact, and that they can have a great experience.
What are you planning for the next year in terms of your traditional preferred hotels and for Beyond Green?
It's the crystal ball that everybody in our industry is asking. I think 2021, we're very, very confident that the recovery is going to be there. With Beyond Green, I'll start with that. We have 24 founding members. Initially, we had said that we would like to get to 100 members within the first 24 months. I think that it is very likely that we'll get to that in the first 12 months. The response to the hotel industry with regards to this new brand has been phenomenal. And there are so many hotels that are really living the ideals of it. So we want to continue to grow that brand, to focus on the consumer awareness of it. There's going to be a lot of education going into educating the travel trade as well, the travel agents and the other end bookers for this. We've got some exciting marketing programs that'll be coming out. So really, we're going to focus on the growth of that brand and making sure that we can really kind of leverage our global breadth. As it relates to preferred hotels and resorts, even despite the pandemic, we've added close to 40 new hotels. I think we'll continue to focus on hotel development and growth. But there's other markets or niches that we see continuing to grow. The resident space is a big piece of that. Some of that being driven by the pandemic and people wanting the comfort of a residence, but all the services of a hotel, but also just the way people are traveling with families and friends. That segment continues to grow, and that will be a big focus for us. And I think that we've definitely had to pivot and shift how we tell our stories, and so we'll be focusing a lot more on regional growth and travel a little bit differently than we have in the past.
Some people from the industry answered me a few weeks ago that the big issue for the hoteling industry is how you are able to create memories. What do you think about it?
I think that the hotel industry is the perfect industry for creating memories. And I think that's, as I was saying earlier, that the creativity that our hotels have come up with, because just by nature of the way that we have to interact, some of the natural nuances of hospitality has had to change. So hotels have had to create, work even harder to do that. A great example is here in Newport Beach. We're known for beach and sun and fun. Disneyland is around the corner, but because Disneyland can't operate to the capacity it has been, a lot of the traditions around going to Disney have changed. So Balboa Bay Club, one of our resorts, has decided they're going to make it snow at the resort every Thursday, and they're going to play holiday, films during this time. So whether it's things like that, I think that they've also become very creative with how do you people that are traveling with their children, how do you keep them engaged with activities whereas before, you know, they could have traditionally used some of the amenities in the hotel a little bit differently. So that will continue. And I think we're going to have a lot of great stories that come out of this. I've heard amazing stories about weddings where they've, you know, they put up screens so that people from around the world that they would usually have invited to their wedding could zoom in and watch them get married. You know, I mean, I think there's just a lot of creative things that have been happening as a result of all of this.
Finally, how do you define your challenges in the next year in 3 words?
I'll have to say, believe in travel. It's our brand promise, and having people continue to believe in travel and the power of travel and that it's safe. So it would be believe in travel.